Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets.
The transparency, the openness, the communication is more than you could expect. I'm sold.
Don't let the fact that you don't know something or don't know enough about something hold you back.
I knew I wanted to invest. What better way to invest than to invest in what I already know that I love, which is real estate.
It was initially the 12% return, but it quickly turned into the people.
We're back with another episode of Kiss My Assets. I'm Bart. I'm joined here today by Heather. She's in investor relations. Bella, who's also in investor relations. And Ethan, our bright summer intern.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have everybody on. And on today's episode, we're going to have a little bit different of a theme. We're going to be doing a little bit of debating and
see if anybody cries or throws a punch.
There might be some punches thrown. Yeah. But we're going to be talking about preferences between different generations of between owning a home and renting today. To get started, we got two Gen Zers here with Bella and Ethan. And Gen Z, for people who don't know, it's 1997 through 2012.
Or babies. I just call them babies.
Yes.
Sweet, precious babies.
And then we also have a couple of millennials, which is 1981 through 1996. So I'm on the younger side of the millennials. Yeah. And Heather is also...
Yeah, I feel like this is just created to bully me. But yes, I am on the upper...
Well, this show is today is going to be about perspective. So it's good to have everyone's perspective on here. And we'll start with round one. So topics, financial stability.
Yeah.
So is buying a home a better long-term investment for financial stability compared to renting?
Oh, 100%. When you rent, you're just throwing your money in the trash every month. There's benefits that come along with it,
Oh
but
my gosh.
what?
She's immediately
Right off the
fired.
top.
Yeah,
Fires.
I mean, it like when I was paying $1,800 in rent, it was like just getting the check or the cash and throwing it in the trash. But when you have a house, it's, it is an investment. But there's certain things that come with both. So that's really where it comes.
Well, I think a lot of people who are renting, they're doing something different with their money instead of putting it into a house. Because I can tell you, as a person who owns a house, it does also costs a lot of money to maintain the house. And people who are renting are able to take that extra money and put it into investing or to other things.
But the more money that you spend on fixing things up for a house, you're still getting it back in a way.
I don't know. I have now fixed 3 leaky pipes, and I don't feel like I'm getting anything back.
But you will in the long run,
Will I?
right?
It's a previous owner's
it's
DIY.
a long-term mindset. It's
Yeah.
a long-term mindset that we tell people about.
So your vote is owning a home is better for long-term financial stability.
Yes.
So that's Bella's vote. She's
Yes.
locked in. That's her vote. Ethan, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with Bella. I think in the long-term view, owning a home is better for financial stability because like she said, you're going to be either making a mortgage payment or you're going to be paying rent. And at least when you're making a mortgage payment, it's going towards ownership. That's building your self-equity. And yeah, there are more expenses that go into owning a home than renting. But while, you're still going to be paying upwards of $2,000 on rent like you would be making a mortgage payment. And so at least that $2,000 is giving you, in the long run, possibly $100,000 in equity, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I've got a lot of equity in my house because I bought at that very special time with that very low rate. So there's
lucky
all
you.
this wonderful equity, but I don't think I can do anything with it. I think it just kind of sits there because the interest rates are so high. I'm not going to go buy another home, or it's just pretend. It's just pretty numbers to look at. Because my house is where I'm going to die.
Yeah.
This is it. The rate's too good. This is it for me.
You could use that as like collateral, though. When you're renting, you don't have anything to put up with collateral. When you have that home, you can use that.
I'm kind of in the middle on this topic. So with home ownership, you build up your equity in the house. Also, you have long-term appreciation of your house. But renting frees up a lot of liquidity to invest. So if I had to vote on this, I'd put my check mark right in the middle between the two.
Yeah.
Which is not a good vote at all for a debate.
Well, I would say
Very
it's
safe.
also like on the timing right now. Like if I'm looking at it right now, I would, what you said about putting money towards like investing in other things, then yes. If I'm looking back like 2 or 3 years ago, then I would go straight home ownership.
Yeah, so renting will free up liquidity to invest in other things like NV REIT, multifamily assets, some of the single properties, retail projects. all of them have a significantly smaller barrier of entry than it
Yeah.
would be to put a down payment on buying a home.
Yep.
And it provides you with monthly passive income, some type of cash flow, and then honestly a pretty big return when the property actually sells.
Yeah.
Whereas home buying, you don't have cash flow, and
Nope.
you're kind of stuck with, is there someone willing to buy my house? That's
Yep.
the only time you're going to see a return. So for me, I'm very much in the middle on this.
And I got a call today about a pump needing to be fixed on my pool, and I did have the thought, if I lived in an apartment, I would have a beautiful pool, and no one would be asking me for $300 for some
Yeah.
timer clock
But you would share that pool with 500 other
with
people.
a bunch of other
um,
wonderful people.
You know,
Who are
just-
peeing in the pool.
Yeah, everything.
That happens at my house too. It's fine.
I don't like public pools because of the amount of band-aids I find in
Yeah.
public
That's
pools.
a
It's a little
very
bad.
true thing.
Isn't that a weird thing?
No, like I always see a floating band-aid.
It's
in a public
band-aids
pool.
and
Oh, if you were an aquatics manager like I was, you would see a lot more than floating
oh
band-aids.
gosh. All right, so with that in mind, let's lock in our vote. So Bella, is buying a home a better long-term investment for financial stability compared to renting?
Yes.
All right, so that's one for owning. Ethan, what do you got? Owning or renting?
So I'll say short answer yes, but like you said, there's factors that can make me go in the middle.
Okay.
I think it's very individualized, and it could be something. I think it's something people are putting off till later. That I think renting makes sense and for longer than it used to. That people are waiting until they're a little older to buy their first home and taking advantage of what renting has to offer in between.
Sweet.
Well, you're still young and fresh and not
Yeah.
tired.
So Heather's vote is for renting.
Right, depending on where
Okay.
you're
The
at.
one homeowner.
And
votes
also,
for
and we also
renting.
look at the market.
Yeah.
There's a lack of homes available. But Gen Z, you guys are traders to your little generation, but they want flexibility. They they want all the amenities taken care of. They want different things, and there just isn't homes available.
Yeah.
And so they're
It's a hard time, especially right now, to sell or even buy a home.
Yep.
With interest rates are through the roof.
Yeah.
The lack of supply is, pretty low right now.
Yeah.
And then also, but there's always a demand. There's always a demand
There's
to
a
buy
demand.
homes, but the price of the homes are too high. So,
But I'm never selling. Do not ask me.
okay. Cool. Yeah. So, which is why she would pick renting right now for
Yeah.
a better.
Yes, you should all rent.
Cool. My vote is probably right in the middle. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I will say, depending on the person and the time of year,
Yeah.
both could be viable options for
Well,
you.
we could all say that. If you had to pick one, what would you pick?
I'm hosting this right now, and I pick.
Well, you are also a homeowner.
I am. So I
Timing's a
would.
I feel like you have to
big
come out as a
factor.
homeowner.
I would say right now renting then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
So it's 2-2.
I think
But
timing has a
I
lot
don't-
to do with that. Like if you're looking at the answer straight as just long-term financial stability, yes. But if you put in a bunch of other factors, then it could go both ways. You know what I'm saying? Because if
Oh,
I'm
I-
looking just 30 years out and like I'm not looking at right now. I'm just looking 30 years out. Homeownership's gonna be the better thing. But like if I'm looking at
I
right
hope
now in
there's a home
today's
for you to
market,
buy.
I'm renting obviously because
Yeah. And
homeownership's
so
so
I'm basing off present times. Like if we could predict the future, no one
Yeah.
could predict COVID happening,
Yeah.
stimulus checks causing interest rates to go through the roof, and there's many other things, which leads us in this housing market today, where there's very few houses on the market. The
Yeah.
price of homes are through the roof, and interest rates are up. So if I had to base it off right now, with what I think is going to happen, I would say renting is probably a better.
And can I say, I think a lot of multifamily like buildings are definitely, there's a shift to making them feel more like a home.
Yeah.
They're feeling more welcoming and homey and a little more of that suburban feel with all the benefits that come with it. So I think
Yeah.
there's shift in even how they're constructed and designed.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on the first topic because we got
As long as we admit that
we
I'm
got
right,
five
we can
more.
move to the next
we got
question.
5 more we have to get through. But the next one I want to talk about is flexibility. So round 2 is flexibility when it comes between owning and renting a home. So for each of us, we're going to talk about what provides greater flexibility for your life, owning or renting. And we'll start with Ethan.
Definitely renting. When you're locked into a 30-year mortgage, it's hard to get up and just leave. You have to sell it. But renting wise, typically like year-to-year leases, you can get up and go. And especially like from what I've seen, I think this is the first generation where going into the workforce, working from home is like a normal thing.
Yeah.
And that's like sought after. So people can take that as, okay, I can work from home, but I can also while I'm working from my computer, I can go wherever I want to go.
And
so renting, you can do that a lot. Because before that, I've never heard of anyone really working from home or being like digital. And now that's like a normal thing. If you're just looking through LinkedIn job offers, it's work from home, work from home, work from home. So with that, renting provides tremendous flexibility with that.
Well, I have a lot of friends who have kept their wonderful jobs, but now are going out of the country and able to work, and they're able to travel in a different way that they couldn't before, and keep their fancy job in New York, but then spend time with their family out west, and then go to Europe for a little bit. And so there's definitely more flexibility with renting.
Yeah. And also like right now, I don't know what I want to be doing necessarily in 5 years. Like I'm still figuring that out.
Is it not Neighborhood Ventures?
Yes.
Summer intern.
So like renting gives me the opportunity, if I'm working somewhere, living somewhere, and I don't like it, like I can get up and go somewhere else if I need to while I figure what all it is I want to do.
Bella, what are your thoughts?
So I have a 2-part answer, pulling a Bart.
Okay, that's fair.
So I definitely would say it depends where your priorities are, because if I was to look at myself 3 years ago, my priorities were getting through college. Then once graduating from college, I was in school where I knew my career was going to take me somewhere else. I was in school for news reporting, and I could be offered a contract anywhere. So I was like, yeah, that's flexible because I could leave and go somewhere else. And then when I didn't want to do that, I was like, oh, well, I want to climb the corporate ladder at my old job. So I'm going to move around. So I don't want to own a home. So it was flexible when my priorities were different. But when you've made the decision to settle down somewhere, that's where having a home could be flexible, because you can make renovations to it. You don't have to go up an elevator to get inside. You don't have to have a parking spot.
You don't have to fake register your dog as an emotional support animal.
You don't have to haul up your groceries from Costco into your apartment. Yeah. And then also there's flexibility that comes with a house. It just takes more work. Like, yes, with an apartment, you can be up and out of a lease and go move somewhere else. Same thing with owning a home. You can turn it into an Airbnb nowadays. You can turn it into a long-term rental. It just takes a lot more effort.
It's a lot of work.
However, oftentimes it gets looked as like, no, like it's way more flexible to be in an apartment. However, it could be flexible. You could be flexible when owning a house, but it just takes more work. Yeah. So I think it really depends on your priorities.
I'm doing enough work.
Yeah.
Don't give me more work, Bella.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think for me, renting obviously is more flexible. And I base it off LinkedIn. So if I'm scrolling through the feed, I always see young adults, people around my age or even younger, who are changing up their jobs left and right. So I think just the longevity of people staying with their job or staying in the same career is much shorter now. Yep. If someone's not happy or they get offered more money somewhere else, they leave. Yeah. And if they leave, that means they probably need to get out of their lease and find somewhere else to live. So
Well, I spent a decade in Manhattan, and I thought I would rent forever. And I loved being able to switch up neighborhoods or like go away for the summer, and like certainly loved it and enjoyed that. And then when I decided that I have a baby at home, like decided I want to be close to my parents, and it was time to buy a house. It was time to come home and settle down. And I wanted to be a little more settled. I didn't need that same flexibility, but I certainly taking a cue from the younger people and waiting a little bit longer, and certainly enjoyed the years behind me.
Well, thanks for the shout out to the younger.
Yes.
All right, so let's lock in our votes. Heather, what's more flexible?
Well, we know renting is more flexible.
Renting is more flexible. Okay. Ethan?
Renting.
Yeah. Bella?
Renting.
And then I also am renting for this category of flexibility. All right, so we'll jump right into round 3, which is the topic is maintenance and responsibilities. Heather is already stressed about this.
Yes, I can talk about that.
So the prompt is, does renting alleviate the burden of home maintenance and repair costs compared to the responsibilities of a homeowner?
Yes.
All right, we'll start with Heather.
I don't have a super. I'm the super. And I shouldn't be the super. Like
the super?
Yeah, that's got to be like a boomer term or something.
No. Says the baby. The super. It takes care of the building, just the maintenance. The maintenance man at your building.
Super.
The fix-it
That's
Felix.
What they're called. The
handyman.
The handyman, which I have a wonderful handyman, Brian.
Shout out Brian.
If he's watching. But there is so much upkeep, and that's just to keep the status quo, right? And there's all these improvements you want to do. Probably maybe your house you noticed too. I would like some new windows, and I want to, you want to remodel the bathroom, and they got to, the air conditioner's going to go out at some point. And so there's a lot of money I could be doing other things with.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that because I'm not a handy type person. I'm not the guy to be
Really?
fixing things. No. And that's something like I appreciate about Neighborhood Ventures is with all of our properties, we have an in-house property management team that's out there. If there's an issue with the toilets, issue with the roof,
We have the best
anything.
construction crew.
Yeah,
They
they're
are the most
out there and they're
wonderful.
able to fix it.
Yeah.
So I wish I had that,
Yes.
whereas I gotta pull out some cash out of the wallet and
Yes.
pay someone to come fix it.
It's not cheap.
Yeah. I would definitely say renting allows for more maintenance.
Yeah.
Maintenance. It's easier to have maintenance when you rent.
You just have to call the building.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
say,
I
my
don't even
dishwasher-
call now.
Yeah, the
That,
dishwasher's
no,
not
we don't
working.
even call.
Oh,
You
Oh,
just
it's through an
submit-
app.
you
I
just
feel like
submit through a portal.
Oh, I just sounded
Yeah,
so
we
old.
don't call.
I forgot. You
Yeah.
just pressed a button.
Talking
on
to
your
people
You
computer.
is
gotta
weird.
write a letter and
Oh.
attach it to a pigeon.
Yes.
Ethan, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, definitely renting. Because actually, like 2 days ago, I get a text from my roommates back at school, and they broke one of the toilets. And all I had to do was go on the app, request maintenance, select what it was, and someone went there and fixed it.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just to hurt my feelings.
Yeah, and so in that we get sometimes we have to pay a little bit of a fee, but it's like $20, so it's like nothing crazy. And so I read somewhere that when you buy a home, it's like a 1% rule that each year you should expect about 1% of your buying price in maintenance and repairs. That's a lot of money,
Yeah.
Instead of a $20 service fee for someone coming and fix my toilet, then if you buy a $300,000 home, that's $3,000 a year. So.
I think on the other side of this though, like it's not we're all choosing renting for this category, but there's people like my brother-in-law or one of my friends who they take pride in fixing their home. They take like my brother-in-law, he's redid his entire basement.
So it's in his DNA. There's
but
certain
yeah,
type
so-
of brains who can do
so
that.
he would
you have to make friends with them.
He would say, I'll
Yeah.
take the burden of
Yeah.
having
Doing
to
that.
fix my own things with
Mhm.
homeownership versus renting. So again, it's a preference thing.
Right.
Yeah, especially
And-
right now.
yeah.
Like when I hit that certain age where, my lawn becomes like my trophy and stuff like that, then I'd love that.
The yard
But I'm
takes
not
so
quite-
much work.
Yeah, I'm not quite at that age yet.
I have to tell you, my mother, my 70-something-year-old mother, is she takes a lot of pride in the yard. And she comes to my house and she's the one who comes and mows the lawn and edges it and makes sure it's beautiful. Otherwise, it would be it would just be wild. It would be so.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's also important to have your ducks in a row when buying a house and make sure that you have your emergency fund.
Yes.
Making sure that you're aware of the things that can go wrong, and the AC unit being 8 years old and things like that. So it's, when we talk about perspective, it's all a matter of who you're talking to. Are you talking to a responsible homeowner or somebody who is like, no, I know I need to own a house. I'm going to go own a house and have $5 in my bank account.
Yeah. Makes sense. So I'm going to tally it up. All four of us for maintenance and responsibilities category are choosing renting.
Yes.
Cool. Sweet. So we'll move on to our next round, which is lifestyles and personal preferences. So does renting or owning a home align better with your desired lifestyle?
Ooh.
Well, certainly right now it aligns with where I am right now. Where I live in my little suburbs is that fits.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger and more fun, it certainly was renting.
Mm-hmm.
It was without not having that responsibility.
I kind of touched on it earlier, but 3 years ago, renting for sure. Renting was just convenient. I didn't know where I was going. I would come home. I would just have the place to myself and it would be like 80 degrees when I came home, and I would just turn it on, and it was such a small little cute studio luxury apartment that it would cool down in like 15 minutes, and then could open up my balcony door. I could go downstairs and go to the study room. Like all of the benefits all my friends lived there. We would just go to the pool on the weekends. But that was my lifestyle 3 years ago.
Yep.
That was where I was at in life. But now, as I've gained the knowledge on what owning a house can do for, as a long-term investment. I now have chosen Arizona as the place that I want to settle down at. I enjoy just being able to pull up and not have to go upstairs with groceries or an elevator with groceries. I want to do renovations. I want to turn it into an Airbnb property. I'm at a different time in my life. So now I would say, I'm all about owning a home. And for clarity, I don't own a home right now, but I plan to within the next 3 years.
Good luck.
Yeah. But back then, 3 years ago, definitely would say renting.
Yep.
So different times of life and different priorities.
And that's from a Gen Zer. So these are two Gen Zers talking about owning versus renting a home.
Yeah. Well, so for me, definitely renting. I'm only 21 years old. I still have a year left of school. So after that, I got a whole life to figure out. I don't know where I want to live yet. I've lived in Georgia, Florida, and then now Arizona. And so.
And Arizona is obviously superior. Say it.
So, I got to figure that out. I got to figure what exactly I want to do and what I want to build. So renting gives me that flexibility of just kind of figuring it all out. Like Bella said, maybe in 5 years, my priorities will be different. But like right now, it's, getting everything in order. So
renting, there's a lot to see.
There's a lot to see, a lot to do, a lot of people to meet. So renting allows me to do that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I would say right now, owning a home aligns better with, my preferences and lifestyle.
Because you have the soul of an old man.
I do.
Yeah,
like I want to be away from things. Like I like 45-minute drive to work and back. Like I can listen to podcasts, listen to the news.
It's one of the first things you told me when I met you. I was like, "Oh, the drive," and you're like, "No, I actually like it."
Yeah,
you are a very old soul.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, like my dog, he has a yard. Like I want him to be able to play around all day. Then also, if I have kids someday, I want them to be able to grow up in a house and have a good time. So right now, that's kind of my lifestyle and preference would be owning a home and living in that. You go ahead, Heather. You got an opinion on this.
No, I agree. I'm excited for all these kids.
Yeah.
All right, so we have 3 votes for owning and 1 vote for renting. Okay, cool. For the next topic, we have affordability. So which is more affordable, renting or owning a home? Belle, I'll let you lead off here.
That's tough because I don't own a home, but I live with somebody that owns his home. My boyfriend owns his home, but he also has me contributing to the mortgage. I'm not the good
He has a renter.
Yeah, he has a renter. So I'm.
Well, we know statistically, right? We just saw an article recently that we talked about on one of our podcasts. There's only 4 cities in the whole nation where it's cheaper. It's more affordable to have a mortgage than to rent. Mm-hmm. So we just know statistically it's renting.
Yeah.
The mortgage is
I don't really know.
Ethan, what are your thoughts? What's more affordable for you? Because buying a home, it's a giant down payment.
So I think part of what I am is I'm an economics major, so I like to dive in and look at a lot of those different things. So I think that question is there's multiple parts to that of the sense of affordability, and you also have accessibility. So affordability wise, mortgage rates are through the roof. Your mortgage payment's going to be more than what rent would be right now. So in that aspect, renting is cheaper. But then also you got to look at things like for the accessibility reasons. Historically, FHA loans helped out people that are first-time homeowner buyers. Yeah. And right now, to even qualify for an FHA loan, it's getting harder and harder. And also, people aren't wanting to accept FHA loans right now. FHA loans have a lot more restrictions than conventional loans. So, you can't even really have the accessibility to buy a house right now. Yep. Because, typically someone starting out their career, they're not going to have money for a 20% down payment on a $400,000 house. That's a lot of money to have saved up. So using that FHA loan where you can do 3.5%, that's a lot easier than a conventional 20%. And right now, people my age, we don't have that. So definitely it's easier.
That was my one gift of the pandemic because I couldn't go anywhere or spend any money. So I was able to save up a really good down payment.
Yeah. So, that's
and
definitely.
I think that mindset kind of encompasses most of Gen Z and a lot of millennials right now, unless you're part of the millennials that bought homes. Was it July 2016? Pre-July 2016?
2% mortgage rate.
Yeah.
Well, so I bought...
Actually, 2020, July
So I've been in my
2020.
home just over 2 years. I bought in March 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was right in that beautiful little sweet spot. But I can tell you, I have a low mortgage payment. I have a great rate. It is still, I feel more expensive, my total expenses, owning a home than it was living in Manhattan, paying a Manhattan apartment, rents. It still ends up being more expensive here. There's more maintenance. There's more. There's more. Yeah.
Yeah. I think renting is more affordable across the board. And like Heather just brought in a little bit. What was the data point you said? It was.
I think there's 4 cities.
4 cities, and I think it's Cleveland, Detroit, and 2 other cities that. Yeah. But to play devil's advocate, I think it definitely does depend on the situation. Our parents. Mm-hmm. Our parents and our grandparents moved to areas that were very undesirable and bought homes very cheap
Yeah.
live there, build communities around them. And then next thing you know, Glendale, Arizona looks awesome. You know,
Well, so-
even like where I grew up, I moved to like South Georgia, like a small town in South Georgia, and you could buy a house for like nothing.
yeah.
And like what really like made me realize like, dang, like these things, everything's getting expensive is like I had a family friend that just sold their house in that town for like close to $400,000, and finding a house for $400,000 where I grew up is like unheard of when I moved there.
Yeah.
So like everything's just climbing and climbing and climbing.
Yeah, like I have cities on here in Arizona. I have Eloy, Coolidge, Douglas, Bullhead City, and all their medium home prices is less than $250,000. Where if you're here in the valley, it's up there.
Yeah.
So really, it depends. If you want to go live in a less desirable area, further away from things, then buying a home might be more affordable than paying rent.
Yeah.
But so much of it, even people may something. Oh, I want to buy a home. They're not available. You might need to rent for quite a while. That it's going to take a while for the market to kind of that pendulum to swing back.
Yeah.
And also as they're not really available, if you do find one, you're competing with other people that are throwing 30, 40, 50% down. And, you know, if you don't have that, you can't compete in that market. They're going to choose someone else over you.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's lock it in. Heather, what's more affordable, owning or renting a home?
It's renting.
Renting. Okay, it's one vote renting. Ethan?
Renting.
Renting. Bella?
Renting.
Renting. And then I'm also going to go renting for this one. And then the last topic we have is goals and aspirations. So is owning a home or renting a home? Which one aligns more with your goals and aspirations?
Well, I just want to stay home. So mine is right in alignment. Just be home.
Just be home.
Yeah. Mine is home. As we talked about earlier, I just dream of having a family and kids, and not a big dog person yet, but maybe a yard for the dog. So
you have baby fever right now. I think that's
do. Yeah. So definitely a home, just to, follow the traditional route.
Yeah, definitely a home. I'd say homes. That'd be my dream to have.
Oh, I like
an
that.
empire.
That would be my
That's
dream
different.
to have
Yeah.
multiple homes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
bounce around places.
And I will.
Which is renting. The flexibility is renting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
If you
will
own 'em.
also agree with you guys that, owning a home aligns more with my goals and aspirations.
I could see you on a ranch. That's
You
what
can
I
see me on a ranch?
Yeah. Just you and your ranch.
Or
you
a
gotta
cave.
say goodbye to everyone.
I could see myself in a cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dark
With
cave.
like blackout curtains.
Yeah.
throughout the
No
house.
TV. Pull a Bella.
No TV, in a cave.
with
my
only
dog.
meat to eat.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. With only meat to eat. Cool. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this episode of Kiss My Assets. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you all soon.